Solving inequalities by multiplying and dividing. You just got through learning how to solve inequalities with adding and subtracting, and these are done the exact same way as you did your one-step equations with multiplying and dividing, except there is going to be one little thing added in there, and I will go over that in just a little bit. Alright, we've got 6x is greater than negative 48. You know that the way to do this is draw your line. Multiplying by 6, the opposite of multiplying by 6 is divide by 6 on both sides of the inequality. And then we're left with x is greater than negative 8. And if we're going to graph that, we put 0. And the negative 8 goes over here to the left of it. It says is greater than. It does not include the or equal to, so we just draw a circle. Greater than indicates going to the right, so we draw our arrow going to the right, and we've graphed our inequality. Okay, now we've got one that involves a decimal. We still are just multiplying by 7, so the opposite of multiplying by 7 is to divide by 7 on both sides. So we're left with y is less than negative 6.1. Once again, we graph. Oh man, that was supposed to be their turn. Okay, now it's your turn. 7y is less than negative 42.7. You're multiplying by 7 with that y. So what do you do? Pause the video, work this problem, and then get back with me. Okay, so we've got 7y is less than negative 42.7. We draw our line down the middle here. Divide by 7 on both sides. And we get y is less than negative 6.1. Then, did you remember to graph it? Come over here and draw your line for graphing. Put 0 and negative 6.1, and it is not included within the answer. It does not have or equal to, so you put a circle there. It points and it says less than, so that means go to the left. And there we have our graph. Okay, now we've got negative 8b is greater than or equal to negative 24. This is where the difference comes in solving inequalities that is different than solving equalities. You're multiplying by negative 8, so the opposite of multiplying by negative 8 is dividing by negative 8. So everything's done exactly the same so far. We get b. But when you divide or multiply by a negative number, it causes the sign, the inequality sign, to switch directions. So it changes from is greater than or equal to is less than or equal to. And so we get b is less than or equal to 3. So we come over here and graph. And we have to color it in because it says or equal to. And it says less than, so that indicates go to the left. Okay, remember, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, not just when a negative number is involved, but when you multiply or divide by a negative number, that's when you switch the direction of the inequality sign. Okay, your turn. You do this one, pause the video and get back with me. We'll see how you did. Alright, negative 4.5p is less than or equal to 22.5. Divide both sides by negative 4.5. And that leaves us with p and 5 and negative. And now, did you remember to switch the direction of the sign from less than or equal to greater than or equal to? I hope that you did. Then when we come over here and graph it, don't forget to graph it each time, because that's one of the big things that we're learning is how to graph these on the number line. So p is greater than or equal to negative 5. So we put negative 5 and 0. Greater than or equal to means that we color it in. Greater than means to the right. Alright, now we've got x over 7 is greater than negative 8. This is being divided by 7, so the opposite of dividing by 7 is to multiply by 7 on both sides. So we're left with x is greater than negative 56. Now, even though there was a negative 8 involved in the multiplication there, we were not multiplying by a negative number. We were multiplying by a positive 7, so we do not switch to the direction of the sign. And this is what our graph looks like. Negative 56, and it does not include the 56, and it's greater than, and so we go to the right. Okay, now this one has a negative 2 on the bottom. When you see a negative number with the variable, that's when you know that you're going to have to switch the direction of the sign. So this time we've got, let's draw a line down the middle. This time we're going to multiply by negative 2 on both sides, because the opposite of dividing by negative 2 is to multiply by multiply by negative 2. That leaves us with n. Since we multiplied by a negative number, that means we switch to the direction of the inequality from greater than to less than. And negative 5 times negative 2 gives us 10. And then very quickly, let's come over here and do our graph. It does not include the 10. It does not say or equal to, so that means it's an open circle. And it goes to the left because it says less than. Alright, it's your turn now. You do this one and see what kind of answer you get. And don't forget to graph it, okay? Alright, so we've got m over negative 6. So we multiply both sides by negative 6. Let's draw that line down the middle there. That leaves us with m and negative 30. And did you remember to switch the sign? Because you multiplied by negative 6. So that means it goes from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. And then we put negative 30 here. It is included in the answer because it has or equal to. So we draw a solid circle there. And then it says greater than, so that means we go to the right. Alright, your turn again. Pause the video, come back, and we'll see how you did. So we've got g over 1.2, so that means we're going to multiply by 1.2 on both sides. And that gives us g is... Now, did you switch the direction of the sign? I hope that you didn't, because see, this time we multiplied by 1.2. We didn't multiply by a negative number. Negative 7 is in there, but we're not multiplying by a negative number. We're multiplying by a positive 1.2, so we do not switch to the direction of the sign. So it stays greater than or equal to and gives us negative 8.4. And our graph looks like this. It says or greater than or equal to, so we color it in. And it says greater than, so that's to the right. All right, now one dealing with fractions. You remember from solving the one-step equations earlier with fractions, when you try to get rid of a fraction that is multiplying, you multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction. So since we're multiplying by 4/5, to get rid of it, we multiply by 5/4 on both sides of the inequality. So that goes away on this side. We're left with x. We do not switch the direction of the sign because we're not multiplying by a negative number. And negative 8 times 4/5 is negative 10. And here we go with our graph. Put negative 10 here. It does not include the negative 10, so we put an open circle. It says is greater than, so that means we go to the right. Okay, so we've got negative 5, 6a. That means that to get rid of the negative 5, 6, we're going to have to multiply by negative 6 over 5. On both sides of the inequality, negative 6 over 5. Draw our line down the middle here. This means that these go away on this side. Since we multiplied by a negative number, a negative 6 over 5, I'm sure that you remembered that we need to switch the direction of the inequality from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. And over here we've got negative times negative, which gives us a positive answer. And we go 8 times 6, numerator times numerator, it gives you 48. And denominator times denominator, 1 times 5 gives you 5. So our answer is A is greater than or equal to 48 over 5. Okay, and then to graph it, we come over here and we put our line with 0. And now, see, you might have trouble with graphing. I've told you many times that you can leave your answer as a fraction. But whenever you're graphing, that might be a little bit more difficult. So let's go ahead and go 48 divided by 5, and we'll get 9 times 5 is 45. Put our 0 there, and 5 goes into 36 times. So that gives us 9.6. So we come over here, we put 9.6. It says greater than or equal to, so we put our dot, and we go to the right.